Well, hopefully I am live. It looks like I am. I can see myself there. Well, this is going to be a very, hopefully, very quick live stream. And I have to thank Tony, Anthony Riley, for this, really, because he's just popped in and told me about this. And I couldn't believe my little eyes when I saw it. I'm going to show you now what Mick West has done. And why is this important? What we have here underneath his curvature calc results is a disclaimer. And this disclaimer is in red so that everyone can see it, and it's not hidden in any way, shape or form. It's there for people to recognize and see. Now, obviously, I think he's got a spelling error here. It should be for gazing. I can't see it being grazing. However, it says, note, not accurate for horizon gazing observations over water, right? Now, this is really important, and this is where the crux of everything comes in. This little disclaimer is his way of excluding standard refraction from the argument, because things have changed so radically over the past year. What with the invention of and release of the P1000, obviously the amount of observations that are coming out from people around the Earth, and what we're seeing here is a basically dismissal of any observations over water. And what's the reason for that? Well, you see, flat earthers claim, including myself, that water finds its own level, and under certain conditions, when there's an equilibrium on that water, we get very flat water. It isn't actually being curved as you would expect the pull of gravity to actually be pulling it to the center of the Earth, and obviously it would have to curve. And if you don't have water that curves, if you have flat water, that is their model debunked there and then. So the fact that we get all these fantastic observations over water, because water is it's just a medium that finds its own level, it finds flatness, and we all know this. Also, the recent data that we've had coming out and information about swell, wave heights, shoaling, which is really detrimental to the globe, let's be honest. And essentially what that does, once you start plugging in the wave heights, the shoaling, the swell, this standard refraction won't cut it. Now, it's something that I've mentioned, that particular phrase, perhaps over the last 3 weeks. It just won't cut it. They're going to have to come up with something super standard refraction on steroids to try and counter all this new stuff that we need to be implementing into the curve calcs. Well, Mick West has decided, screw that. We're not going to go for that now. I'm not going to include anything other than just standard refraction for land-based observations. And I'm just going to dismiss every single observation over water. Every single one of them. So basically, this is now a war between flat Earth and globe as to what is an acceptable area to actually do observations over. So what he's done here is he's tried to eliminate the idea that water lies flat, and by doing so, by eliminating that, obviously trying to find any kind of distances over land that you can do these observations from is going to be very difficult. So what he's done here is he's basically laid down a marker, and essentially he's basically said, we know that all this new stuff that's coming out is far too much for any sane person to accept. In other words, if we start changing standard refraction and now we start looking into super looming standard refraction, right, with all this input of new data, including swell heights, etc., then just people aren't going to swallow it. They aren't going to buy it. So he's just put this in. not accurate for horizon, and I'll quote him, grazing observations over water. Very, very slithery and snake-like, Mick West. I actually thought you would come back with some super looming kind of thing in here, which you haven't done. So you've just decided to say, nah, I'm going to not bother with any observations over water. So I thought I'd bring that to everyone's attention. I think it needs to be talked about. Basically, it's showing the pressure that we're putting on these guys. We are literally putting so much pressure on them that they are having to change the globe posts, and they're doing it on a regular basis. I think this time last year, this included bulge. They've removed that. This time last year, it also had geometric results at the top and standard refraction underneath. He's now switched that around. Now they've included a caveat, which basically says that it's not accurate for horizon gazing observations over water. Very, very snake-like, Mick West. Right, okie dokie. So I'm going to do a few shout outs. We've got Peanuts Clarkin, nice to see you in. Lucas P, Christina Miller, nice to see you in. Leah Templer, thank you very much. Yes, I enjoyed doing that presentation with Jaren as well. That was really nice of him to invite me in. The Ham, nice to see you in. Ron Habberg, Zyde Mocha, Sleeping Warrior. Wow, Ranty, how did you get this spot of juicy nugget? Yes, I did actually say at the start of the live stream that it was all down to you. I did give you full credit for this. Who else do we have in? I think that's everything. Oh no, Steve Finneran, nice to see you in, and Billy Wazza. Yeah, I think it's Top Hill, nice to see you in. I think it's really sneaky of Mick West what he's done here. He's basically trying to eliminate any observations over water by this little caveat here. And you know why he's trying to do that? Because of observations that show completely flat or near to completely flat over very, very long distances. In other words, water isn't behaving or as it should do if it was under the force of gravity. If gravity was acting upon it, it would be curving all around the sphere Earth and sticking to it, and it would be measurable because water would be is a very good fluid for measuring things, especially if it's all being pulled to the center of a spherical Earth, and it's going to curve at 8 inches per mile squared or 7.98 inches per mile squared. So Mick West, very, very, very tricky. Brandon, nice to see you in. Thanks for the super chat, very much appreciated. Joseph369, Mick West stinks of tuna. Couldn't agree more. Although I haven't actually smelt him, I can actually say that his slithering snake-like ways do appear to portray him as a disingenuous, smelly person, perhaps. Who knows? Right. Okay. Well, I'm just going to end it now because that's all I really needed to say. So be aware that in the future, the Globes are probably going to come back and say, well, Mick West says this. And obviously, you know, we can dismiss any kind of claims over water. You see, water's our baby. Water is flat Earth's baby. And they're trying to remove that. Considering that 70% of the Earth is made up of water, that's a pretty bold statement there when you say that the curve calcs aren't accurate for observations over water. Wonder what Soundly will say when he talk about his observations over there. I don't think he'll be happy with you, will he, Mick West? Right, that will do for now. Thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by. Love, Wisdom, Harmony, nice to see you in, and Dr. John D. And your Shields, Dr. John D. Hi, Ranty. It was because what was at the end of my last video. Right, okay. I'll have to watch and see what that was. Right, thanks, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.